not enough. In Melbourne town, where the suits all grind, there's a lawyer with a vision, one of a kind. He's the Aussie Overlaw'd. He'll fight for your rights, and he's got his own channel shining bright. From the courtroom to the web, he's got it all. Sharing legal knowledge, answering the call. He breaks.
And good afternoon, good evening, and good night, and welcome to today's episode of To Be Advised. I'm Hayden Glaister, your resident Australian kangaroo court aficionado, here to drop some legal knowledge for those of you that are willing to listen. Seriously? Find out. %75 every goddamn time. No, it's not the wrong mic. It's for some goddamn reason, randomly, Windows drops my mic volume from 100% down to 75%, and I only occasionally notice. So, hello, aloha from Kansas. Good to see you. Let me just drop down the mic a little bit because I can see that redlining. Fuck it. How are we, people? How's everybody doing? It is Friday evening here. It's just gone 20 after 10. Good to hear the stream started smoothly as always. I don't know why I bother anymore. I really don't. Damn you, Windows is cinder blocks behind the curtain house now. Pretending to be working, but everyone's on holidays. Fair enough. I mean, if you can take it easy and, working hard or hardly working, then that's really, look after yourself, basically. Sovereign Bozeman is what I'm trying to say. And also to anyone that is watching from the UK, for God's sakes, please take care of yourself and keep your memes to yourself, apparently. I've seen that Jason got nuked off of Twitter for sharing some things with the police, although, let's be fair, with Jason's history, he was always... Look, Jason, let's be fair, something was always going to happen with your Twitter account. Stingy's been working hard with... did you see Gemini AI called you controversial? Yes, I did see that. Which is really weird. So, Stingy's been working very hard behind the scenes. He's been sending me edited videos, some of which, frankly, made me cackle with laughter. But he was also playing around with the Gemini AI as to who is Aussie Overlaw'd and what is... Dude, it is bordering on a little on stalkerish. Not that I mind, I'm just saying. Back in the loop from South Carolina, USA. Leanne, how did you... Wait. Well, good to see you back. That's the main thing. 8:23 here in Michigan. Wish they were posting something crazy. Just general memes getting them in trouble. Jason posted a little more. There was one meme there that I thought might have gotten him in trouble. Because he ran me by it exactly what was posted, what was said, and that sort of thing. And it was really just the one that I think may have been the one that got him in trouble. Okay, firstly, aloha from Kansas. Hugely appreciate the super chat. You get one of those, and that puts us $45 away from Dotcom. But for God's sakes, people, never apologize for sending anything, even if it's a small amount, because it is all hugely appreciated. And for God's sakes, never put yourself out in order to send me a super chat, okay? I try and interact with chat as much as I possibly can. If you want to be generous, I'm more than happy for you to. Don't go putting yourself out for me, though, okay? Are you seriously telling me that the sound effects didn't go through? No worries, Bernice. Say hi to me. Say hi for me, and spend some time with her, basically. Would the sound effects not have come through? Motherfucker. It's showing on the board. Why would it not show on... Hang on. Sake. Output route. Oh. Strange. Why was that turned off? Oh, yeah, Kim.com. He was the original guy that ran, I believe, Mega Upload. Okay, well, if the sound effects worked and that one worked, I will... Wait, does that mean that this entire time I've been playing sound effects and crap they haven't been playing? Oh my freaking god, are you seriously telling me that this entire time that I was playing sound effects through all of my streams, none of them have been working? They worked yesterday? So why did they work yesterday and they've stopped working today? I don't know. Having a good day so far. Apparently not as good as I could be. I mean, okay, so let's see. How did my day go? I went back and forth arguing with a know-it-all lawyer about a inclusion in a property transfer contract that we had advice from a local authority for us not to structure the contract for sale in a particular way, and the other lawyer decided it'd be a good idea to try and insist upon that, despite the fact that it would basically cause the contract to implode anyway. After that, I had to help a long-term friend deal with some finance-based issues, which has led to some court drama, and I mean, thankfully that went reasonably smoothly, but the point is I've said to them that I cannot represent them. They need to, because it's in a state with no reciprocity between practicing certificates, I'm not going to be able to, I'm not going to be able to help, which ordinarily I would do, you know, free of charge, that sort of thing, because I try and help the little guys wherever I can, especially when you're backed into a corner by, I don't know, one of the big four banks. But the most annoying thing that happened was that about 6 o'clock yesterday, I was sitting on my phone, scrolling through Twitter, trying to work things out, and I get a notification from Scarlett's school. Reminder, tomorrow is a pupil-free day. Students are not to attend. What the fuck do you mean reminder? This is the first that I've heard about it. And I'm just like, fuck. Actually, I think there was a third one. And I just... So I've had her all day. And so because she was home with Dad, she got a little bit more rowdy than she usually would. Pushed my buttons a little bit more, and she's a mini me. I get it. At her age, I pushed boundaries. I pissed everybody off. I was a terror. I'm trying to instill discipline and manners into her. Trying. But then, you know, because it's Friday night, well, you know, she gets to sleep in the big bed with Mum and Dad because it's a special occasion and that sort of thing because her birthday's coming up and whatever else. And so she's currently asleep in my bed. I think she's asleep now because she just would not relax. And then, you know, then I came in here, opened up some hate mail, and then I went and um, looked for all the stuff that I was going to cover tonight. So push your buttons, and that's why your mic was muted and the sounds didn't work. You know, that's actually not an unreasonable thing to think. Because on the Rodecaster, all the different buttons are all different colors. She likes pressing the different things. I mean, hell, we know that there was a show that I did where, what was it?
I was talking like this for the first like 20 odd minutes because no one noticed that I had the voice changer on and no one in chat decided they wanted to let me know. So.
But, she's 5 going on 15. Mine's currently 9 going on 19. Oh, don't even with that. I have no idea where she picked it up. We were sitting here. I was scrolling through some work stuff today. She was sitting on my lap so that she could play, like, doing the puzzles and stuff on my big screen computer. And filter overly negative words list. At least Hayden reads them, I guess. I try. And I had my Twitter feed I had my Twitter feed open, and it sort of refreshed and whatever else. And there was 2 pictures. One was Lauren Boebert, and I don't know who the other one is. She sits there and goes, "Daddy, that woman's really sexy." And I'm like, "Excuse me? Where do you even know that word from? And what do you think it means?" And she's like, "She's hot." I'm like, "What?" I am not prepared for this shit. Well, to be fair, I don't, like, she chose Lauren Boebert, but she's like, because of the tattoos, like, on her side, and I'm just like, let's not, that's another problem for another day, okay? Let's just, like, take it easy there, and I'm just gonna be grateful my nephew's 25 mentally and emotionally too. Just don't react with mine. No, fair enough. Anyway, what was I doing? Oh, yes, I was going to share. Okay, because it was... Oh, that's right, I didn't open the news article about people complaining that Borderlands has no sexuality in it. We will talk about that later. But... Oh, right, it only does that when it's opening up. This had me cackling, and I showed it to the wife as well, and she was laughing like there was no tomorrow. So, Stingy was quite busy, shall we say. Hear the love mail I sent you? Well, hate to break it to you, my daughter's 8 going on 18, independent as hell, and stubborn as hell. Great. At least she recognises beauty, she may aspire to be fit and healthy. In my household, probably not. I'm a fat fuck, and we try and, you know, weird choice to make it a kid's film. Oh, just you wait. It's so inappropriate that it's not funny. That's not playing any audio. That should be coming through my audio. Yeah, no, I realised that there's nothing playing through. Why? Why is the Rode secondary not playing any audio? Alright. So that's coming through chat audio for some reason, so output routing. Why is this all changed all of a sudden? I don't know. Rode secondary is supposed to have the chat audio. Why is this all of a sudden changing? Why did that change to set to default? No wonder there's no audio coming through it. There we go.
Right, but who can resist this?
I don't want to do unspeakable things to your ass. I do it to myself, though. I really do. Okay, now the other problem that I have is that because I just fixed that audio, I'm willing to bet that I'll get a double up on the, hang on, so I need to turn off the sound effects because they should still be coming through on the secondary now. I don't need to mess that up and have everything doubling up again. So let me just check. There it goes. Could have posted that without saying who sent it. We probably would have got it right. Yeah, absolutely. Side question, why do they call it a BJ when they aren't attempting to inflate a balloon? I've never really understood that. I'm assuming it's because a blowjob sounds better than a suck job. Hey, sweetheart, I've worked extra hard and done extra chores this week. Do you reckon I can have a suck job? It's not quite as, you know. Giving head. Well, that I've never quite. There is no suck, only blow. It's physics. Well, see, I've always hated the word blow because, I mean, if you blow air into a man's urethra, you can, like, things can go bad. Don't blow on the ladies. No. All right. Go back to that so that I'm not... Because I've got that many of them that Stinge sends through that's not funny. For example, I played this one for the wife, and she's like, wow, he's a little bit desperate, isn't he?
Notice me!
Fine, now is not the time, Stingy.
Notice me!
Meant to, because it's supposed to end in a blow. Like a right hook? Because, I mean, all I'm saying is that technically if you're going at it like missionary style, it's still going to end in a blow, is all I'm saying. The guy's still going to blow his load one way or another. Maybe because of the shape of the mouth, or the man does, and that's why they call it a blow. Well, it doesn't make sense to me. That's a donkey punch. Oh my god, there's an actual name for something like that? Oh, it's been that long since I've done Kinky Corner that I got no idea. I just don't. What did you just come in on? Phrasing. Oh, Outpost Nerd, you have no idea, mate. Sadly, a rise in throat cancer in part HPV from engaging in that. Thank you for sharing. That's the cop that was beating up the suspect. When's that one? That's... Yeah, you know what? Fine. Now is not the time.
Will not be ignored! Get back in here! Get back in here and love me! Ah!
Good. Yeah, you know what? Fine. Now is not the time, Stingy.
Damn you, I will not be ignored!
You said that a couple of times, actually. Oh, that's the one about Kamala. That's fine. I mean, if you put actual time and effort into it, Stingy, you'd probably be a half-decent producer, is all I'm saying. What WTF is a donkey punch, or do I not even want to know? I would presume you don't want to know. No, there's just no point in me ducking back and forth for, should explain to Ozzy what a rusty trombone is. No, thanks. Very spicy stream so far today. Really? One was for chat in general, one was for me. Okay. Well, anyway. Let's move on, shall we? Because... Well, I've got to. So, because we're already... Shit, I'm already 20 minutes in and I have said nothing. Did I even play the intro? I don't think I did. No, because I opened up with the whole spiel about how I'm a cringy Australian lawyer who works in kangaroo courts and, you know, whatever else. What's that? I'm confused. Sexual innuendos and Kamala. Oh, no. Just there's some locals material. No, not so much. Locals material gets way weirder. You know, that actually might explain why the channel's doing what it's doing. There's the beep, beep, beep. Maybe I'm supposed to be saving all this sort of material for locals. I don't know. You tell me, chat. But alright. Hey, Peachy Peaches. You had the Logan Paul Borderlands and the Doc's story if you want from me to cover. Yeah, no, I saw that. Innuendo, that's how Nick likes it. No, that's in his endo. That's in your endo. That's in everybody's endo. Know most of the rules, so most of what I say is rephrased to something sanitized. Fair enough. Apparently, a judge ordered a 15-year-old girl to be put in handcuffs. They have now been removed from the bench. I'm curious to learn more. If any newbies around here, welcome. Enjoy the boomering news stories and the boomer getting sidetracked and more boomering. Yes, everything. Everything. Jim's like, stay away from my endo. You wish.
A judge in Detroit is off the bench after standing by his decision to put a 15-year-old girl in handcuffs.
Okay, so check this out. That girl was on a field trip to his courtroom.
You fall asleep in my courtroom one more time, I'm putting you in the back, understood?
I'm sorry,
the only
what?
thing you'll learn about my courtroom is that I am not a toy. I'm not to be played with.
The teen was with a nonprofit summer program. That is Judge Kenneth King. He removed her from his courtroom, then ordered her to put on a jail uniform and handcuffs. And didn't stop there.
Okay, I'm willing to bet that this guy was an a-hole, yeah. But I'm willing to bet that he was trying for some tough love to instill a little bit of manners. And this ended badly. This is the equivalent of the parents that go and ask the cops to put their kids in the back of a cop car to, put a little bit of fear in them. But this has gone very badly, and the judge was not in a position to do this. Boomering is all intentional for entertainment. Yes, let's go with that. Let's say that all boomering that is ever done is purely for entertainment. No, it's intended to be scaring for the kid. That's what I'm saying.
There.
I'm thinking maybe she needs to go to the juvenile detention facility. You do understand that we have a jail for kids.
So do I have any...
What? What? There's got to be more to this story. What was she doing, like... Well, nobody trusts the justice system anymore. Look, this is some bullshit. What? What? I'm sorry, there has to be more to this story. There has to be. What did she do in the courtroom? Like... I mean, but even still, she would need to raise to a high level of, like... What? All she did was fall asleep in the courtroom. Okay.
Reservations? Do I think I was heavy-handed in what I did? No, I don't. Because I'll do whatever it needs to be done to reach these kids and make sure that they don't end up in front of me. So that was my own...
How the fruit... I was using that as a replacement for the other F word, and I'm thinking that some people may still think that's offensive. So I'm going to continue using that. How the fruit did this idiot think that someone falling asleep in his, like, courtroom is going to wind up with them being in front of him? I mean, was this racial profiling? Was this just that he had bad memories of when he was in high school? Translation, he's a power-tripping dick. Seems more than likely.
Own version of scared straight.
Again, her crime was falling asleep. The teen's mother says the judge was way out of line.
Yeah,
she says she's a struggling single mom and her family is moving from place to place, and she thought the summer program would be a good distraction for her daughter. Instead, her daughter is traumatized.
You sleep at home in your bed, not in court.
So the fact that he was talking about you go home and get in your bed, how do you know my baby got a home?
Okay, how did we get here? We go from... What?
How do you know my baby got a bed, her own bed that she can sleep in? She don't have that right now. So she was hired to belittle her in front of the whole world and her friends to make her even feel more worse about our situation. I'm a single mother. I'm trying my best. I'm doing everything that I can.
Woman, did you seriously just go on TV saying that your daughter doesn't have a bed and that's why she fell asleep in court? Yeah, I did catch that too. She's overreacting to it as an adult. Well,
the district's chief judge says Judge King is being removed from his docket so he can undergo sensitivity training. Judge King had said he reached out to the teen's family and offered to mentor the 15-year-old. Her mother refused.
But the main reason I wanted to talk about that one is that, so after a marathon session of the state parliament here in Victoria last night, the Victorian government has now officially passed a bill raising the legal age of criminal responsibility from 10 to 12. Now, for a long time, Jacinta Allen had been pushing that they'd raise the level of the age of criminal responsibility to 14. Now, in the current circumstances, I've been rallying a bit against this to the point where I considered actually putting in a submission. I didn't get around to it because I didn't have time. But for anyone that doesn't know, the age of criminal responsibility is the age below which a child cannot be charged with a crime. Now, I'm sorry, but there have been plenty of 10-year-olds that have been involved in certain, shall we say, incidents. I do not agree with raising the age of criminal culpability. As far as I'm concerned, it probably should have been lowered, frankly, and that some of these kids should have been put into diversion programs, and they, rather than just being left on the street. But let's have a quick look. Allen Labor government accused of putting community at risk as youth crime bill passes Victorian upper house.
I've written and spent a lot of time on Sky talking about something I've never witnessed before in the...
Wait, what? Just got here, know that judge, used to watch his YouTube channel every day. Oh, he has a YouTube channel, there you go. He deals with DV and unliving. Ooh. What 10-year-old stole Aussie's car? Funny thing is, it's not about stealing cars. What it is about is group attacks where machetes and large knives are involved. And you know what? At the risk of being labelled the R word, I'm just going to say it. A lot of the time, these kids are not Australian-born, shall we say. Yes, exactly. And then you've got to think about John Venables and what happened to the child that that he and his friend brutally assaulted and then killed. That they Australian are shipped in. Yeah, well. Yes, you were right. They need to cause real havoc, not just attempts, plans, or whatever. 10 is old enough for court? I would think so. I mean, even if it's for children's court, because here's the thing. Because of the way that the system is currently set up, obviously once you get to the age of majority at 18, you get a free pass. You get to walk out of the juvenile detention facility. You don't have to worry about ongoing... Oh, I can unpin that message now. Think about it. There you go. ADHD. Squirrel. You get a chance at being out in the community again, and it's not even that you have to fully serve your sentence or anything like that. And as far as I'm concerned, that's just not good enough. Old enough to commit a crime, old enough to be punished for it is where I sit on it as well. But let's see what Steve Bloody Price has to say about it. Children's court or whatever, if they're doing gang violence and things like that. Assaults, unlawful behaviour on government property and more as a kid. Look, I don't care so much about government property. Private property, very much so. Other kids, I have a very big issue with. Venables and Thompson were in juvenile detention and were let out on day, released unsupervised and video games, and the public had no idea.
The country I grew up in. The explosion in juvenile crime across our major cities right around the nation. And when I talk crime, I'm talking about violence being committed by preteens at its worst, featuring weapons. Just think about that for a second. 10-year-olds, 11, 12-year-olds, stealing cars, leading police on dangerous street pursuits, and when cornered, abandoning those stolen cars and fleeing on foot. Police then discover strewn around the vehicles taken from terrified residents in the middle of the night, from stolen keys grabbed in violent home invasions. What do police find? They find weapons. They find knives, axes, machetes, open blade weapons that can kill and injure people, innocent people. Now, let me repeat, 10, 11, 12-year-olds out in the middle of the night. If you think I'm exaggerating, let me show you one very recent example from vision released today by Victoria Police in a bid to find a couple of these violent gangs. Now, ironically, the incident that we're about to see was from back in February. It occurred on, of all things, Lovely Street in suburban Fawkner in Melbourne. Not in the middle.
And of course, I got to do this.
Of the night, but during the afternoon peak hour with young men of various ages. Have a look at this. Now, that vision, as shocking as it is, and we had to beat the language, obviously, and it goes on for some minutes, probably doesn't give you the full story, so let me do that for you. Here's what happened. The two vehicles involved, both stolen, one a white Nissan Skyline, the other, as you saw in the vision, a black Sherry SUV. First shows the SUV slowly driving down Lovely Street.
Did he just say that's a black... Oh, no, because that's not the SUV. That's a... Okay, never mind.
With multiple passengers hanging out the windows screaming obscenities that we've beeped out. The Nissan Skyline is following behind. In secondary vision, the Skyline is rammed from behind by a third vehicle, and this is where I lose it over what's become our suburban streets. What happened next? 4 occupants from the Holden car used to ram the Skyline get out armed with baseball bats and a firearm. Remember, this is 5:15 p.m. in February.
Remember when everyone said that, oh, Australians are so lax... Australians are so, like... wrapped up in gun laws that, you know, no one would know how to use one or anything like that? Yeah, no. Couldn't pay me to live in a large city nowadays. I'd like to move back out to the country, honestly.
Broad daylight, baseball bats and a gun. The man armed with the gun has a shirt wound around his face to disguise himself. He walks up to the Skyline window and fires a shot into the vehicle. Now, it ended as many of these violent confrontations do. Both vehicles fled, one collided with an innocent motorist.
No, see, I would disagree with that, Jill, if only because it's only the criminals that are having firearms here. And that's what really freaking, like, irritates me.
On a freeway on-ramp, and all of the offenders fled on foot. Happened 6 months ago. No arrests, no convictions, no jail time. Guns, stolen cars, violence. It's happening daily, and youth crime stats show it is out of control. And what do we hear from our politicians right around the country? Merely mouth.
Exactly. It is part of their culture. It is not part of Australian culture. They're supposed to be assimilating into our culture. And I'm sick and tired of not being able to say that. If you are moving here to this country, it is to be part of the lucky country, to be part of Australia, to be part of receiving a fair go. Not to bring your fucked up, messed up bullshit here to terrorize hardworking citizens. And I'm sick and goddamn tired of not being able to say that. For being labelled a racist, or insensitive, or any number of other words that could get me cancelled by cancel culture. I'm sick of it. Who said Australia doesn't know how to use a firearm? Pretty easy to use, difficult to use well and properly. Yeah. Excuse me?
Words, platitudes, they're bowing to the Greens, concentrating on social policy and not law and order, and people are sick of it. Never in my life have I had so many people come up to me and say they are actually afraid at night in their own homes. Suburban properties are now festooned with security cameras and lights, and in the worst affected places, they've even resorted to privately funding security guards to patrol their streets. Incumbent governments hate talking about law and order. All state governments know they have underfunded their police forces, the cops are badly paid, and from what I see, almost invisible on our streets and even our highways. Aside from revenue raising...
No, I'm sorry, I got to disagree with you there, Steve, because as far as I'm concerned, the police being underfunded providing funding to police is not the answer. We know that everywhere you go, every country has issues with their police forces because you always get the power-hungry, trigger-happy dicks that wind up in there. And it would not be necessary. A larger, stronger police force would not be necessary if the government were protecting their people, but they're not. On the news last night, it cost $70,000 for one child per year at detention. Bloody hell. Never been tempted to vote One Nation before, but it's now a serious option for me. I know, right? And isn't that terrifying? For how many years Pauline Hanson and One Nation were considered to be whack jobs? Here's an idea: extended deportation. If you're an immigrant and your kid commits a crime, your whole family gets deported. I can't say what I want to say because I know Julian and Grant will be crawling up my ass.
Operation of speed cameras, the police seem to spend more time inside police stations doing paperwork than actually walking the beat, being seen and hopefully being respected by anybody. It's a national problem, as important as any. State governments need to get on top of street crime. They need to get answers as to why 10 and 11-year-olds are roaming the streets at night. Doesn't matter if it's Alice Springs or Darwin or Melbourne or somewhere in Queensland, and they need to ask, where are their parents? It's time to stop talking. It's time to start actually acting.
Damn straight. Pauline was right about everything she warned us about in the 90s. That's why they went after her so hard. A damn good point. I don't care about the Iranian regime.
I want to turn our attention...
No, fuck off, Steve. You had enough of my airtime tonight. The Victorian government has been accused of giving young offenders unlimited get-out-of-jail-free cards after Labor's youth crime bill passed the state upper house overnight. The long-awaited legislation will raise Victoria's age of criminal responsibility from 10 to 12, a commitment made by former Premier Daniel Andrews in 2023. Yeah, and Jacinta Allen wanted to make it 14. So anyone 14 and under would be able to commit whatever crime they liked without facing any repercussions really whatsoever. Because the police can't even detain them and return them to their parents at that point. Who's Pauline? How do I put this? She is the head of a what used to be considered a fringe political party. I'm not even sure who I'd compare her to in American politics. I keep thinking Ted Cruz, but that's not appropriate. The bill also creates a new legislated scheme for warnings, cautions, and early diversion designed to discourage police from charging children, and writes the principle of Dolly Incapax into the law, the presumption that a child aged between 10 and 14 is incapable of criminal intent. Are you freaking kidding me? If nothing else, did they not watch RoboCop 2 where they used a kid as a drug lord? They branded her a racist and a white nationalist, quite anti-immigration, about Australia first, etc. Yeah. Unlimited get-out-of-jail policies. Kamala's been in Australia. Didn't know you all had peaceful protesters as well. Not only that, the other thing we're going to talk about tonight is that the left wing here have taken a page right out of Joe Biden's playbook, or should I say just the Democrat playbook, and they're talking about wiping $3 billion of educational debt off the books. So she's Trump. She's Trump if he was in charge of one of the smaller parties that almost never gets any power. Kids can have criminal intent? Of course they can. That was the narrative, at least. She's actually clarified she's not against immigration. She just wanted to put local population first and control the influx, which, as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing wrong with that. I believe that it should be local population first. Wasn't there an issue today with New Zealand winging that Australia was sending them home? Also, whinging that Australians were sending them home for crimes that they've committed? Probably. I haven't seen it, but yeah, probably. An additional children's court magistrate will be appointed to deal with the surge of repeat offending amongst a cohort of about 200 children, and the legislation creates electronic monitoring as an optional bail condition for youth offenders. The Victorian opposition slammed the changes on Friday, arguing that the Jacinta Allen government had failed to put the community safety first. No shit, you think? Will that $3 billion get overturned as unconstitutional like it was here? Probably not, AP. 50-some foreign military bases in Africa causing strife, causing folks to flee, has nothing to do with it, right? Those two women look sour. Yeah, so this is Jacinta Allen. Up until recently, she was my local member, I think. And when she became the premier, she moved to a much safer seat, I believe. I'm not actually sure who that is in the background. Shadow Police Youth Justice and Crime Prevention Minister Brad Batten, who was previously supported raising the age of criminal responsibility, said the changes amounted to giving young offenders unlimited get-out-of-jail-free cards. Mr. Batten said rather than proceeding with the flawed youth justice bill, Labor should instead be attempting to fill the 800 Victoria Police vacancies, reopen closed police stations, and reverse their funding cuts to crime prevention initiatives. The coalition said that the changes... So, for those of you that don't know, the coalition is two parties here that are relatively right-leaning that generally vote together as a bloc. So the changes to the age of criminal responsibility would not only prevent 10 and 11-year-olds from being charged with a criminal offence, regardless of the severity of the crime, it would also prevent them from being required to participate in programs aimed at addressing offending behaviour. I think it's wonderful how Australia allows foreskins to run for office. This guy is coalition, he has an alt-right haircut. The Liberal and National parties also hit out the creation of the new scheme of warnings and cautions, arguing that it could allow youth offenders to continue to commit crime and get away with it, since there would be unlimited options for cautions and diversions for anyone under the age of 18, including repeat offenders. Aren't you the kid that I handcuffed last week? Yeah, here's your last warning. And you know what? I'll write you on for now. I'll write out a preemptive one for next week as well. Like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? Seriously. This guy's a minister for the Shadow Police. No, he is the Shadow Minister of Police. Not the same thing. So you're saying if an 11-year-old unalives someone, they won't charge the 11-year-old but charge their parents. No, they won't even do that. They're saying that the child does not have the requisite intent to commit a crime. Literally, any felony crime, what we call an indictable offence that requires the mens rea, a guilty mind, in order to commit a crime, they cannot be charged with. So no. It's not even that they'll go after the parents. This is a terrifying state of affairs. I could potentially walk down the street, pay a kid, I don't know, $20 and say, hey, how about you go rob a store for me? Yes, I'd be committing a crime by enticing them into doing so, but anyway, all we can do is tell them how to change their lives. Saying a kid doesn't commit crimes is asinine. Kids steal candy all the time. Yeah. Are you effing kidding me? Nope. Nope. Wait, don't I have that on sound effect? I think I did. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The coalition said that while they attempted to move for amendments to reverse the weakening of bail laws, this was blocked by Labor. Shadow Attorney General, who is basically the shadow top lawyer for the state, Michael O'Brien, said that the bail laws were weaker today than they were in March this year because the Labor government is more interested in ideology than community safety. Under Labor's weak bail laws, the vicious cycle of offend, release, and reoffend will only continue. Despite the criticism, Youth Justice Minister Enver Erdogan said the bill would modernise...
no longer the world's most...
Fuck off. Would modernise Victoria's youth justice laws in order to improve community safety. At their core, the reforms in this bill are about improving community safety. That's a crock of shit. This is about using a softly touch to try and dissuade kids from committing crimes. If they are already in a situation where they have been raised, where they have found themselves in a situation where they feel that it is okay to commit a crime, using a gently approach where you can't even put them into a diversion program. So, you know, like an after-school program to, like, Boy Scouts or anything like that. If you generally can't do that, it's pretty well effed. Is the stream choppy? Not on my end. But, hey, guys, there is currently 80 of you watching. If you haven't already hit the like button, maybe just consider it. We had a top... Oh, wow, okay, so we've had, what, average viewer is 15 minutes, but oh well. Slightly gearing up for a kid army with this logic, not illegal. It's a bit choppy, is it really? Saying anything on my end, it's saying that it's going out to YouTube fine. Interesting. Don't know what to say, sorry. It's Akira Australian edition. God, I hope not. Getting some lag as well. Make Victorian workhouses great again. Alright, hang on. Let me see if I can pull the photo settings. See if I can make it a little bit faster. Alright, let's try that. Fingers crossed. It enhances the best aspects of the current system while providing a broader spectrum and more effective responses at both ends of offending. What do you mean, both ends of offending? What? Oh, that's talking about the homelessness stuff. Think it's good now? Okay. This includes diverting young people away from the criminal justice system before their behavior becomes dangerous and enforcing more serious and tailored consequences for serious and repeat offenders. Yeah, but you've just said that any kid under the age of 12 that commits a serious crime or is a repeat offender get off scot-free anyway. So by that stage, they've already got it ingrained in their minds that, yes, I can be a hardened criminal at a young age. Like, what the... First, exempt 10 to 14-year-olds from crime. Next, give them the right to vote. Kids these days know what they're doing? Abso-friggin-lutely they do. And I think that's a part of the problem, is that pretty much every politician that's in power right now grew up in a very different time. Victoria already gets a lot of things right when it comes to youth justice, and this legislation will do more of what we know works. What a crock of shit. State government had previously committed to a second increase to the age of criminal responsibility that would have seen it increase from 12 to 14 years by 2027. However, the second stage of the increase was abandoned by the government earlier this week, with Jacinta Allen saying the decision had been made at a different time by a different government and a different premier. It's an absolute crock of shit, honestly. Suspend parent benefits, that might not be a bad idea. But then you'd have people whinging that it's affecting individuals of certain socio-economic or ethnic classes, so... Victoria's criminal age to rise after marathon debate in state parliament. Victoria will raise the age of criminal responsibility from 10 to 12 following the marathon debate overnight. Hey, Paul Farrell, keep up the great work, Aussie. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And thank you for using your 8-month membership chat. Judges need to go back to offering the military to low juvenile offenders instead of just jailing them. I personally don't really have an issue if the individual takes it as a choice of, enter military service or jail time. I wouldn't have an issue with it if provided it's their choice. I mean, obviously, I don't want anyone forced into the military. That's not appropriate for me, and that's not something that I'm willing to endorse. No, it's that one. Is it that one? No, never mind. I still don't know why it's glitching out like that, although I did see that there was an update that I haven't installed today. More wondering what's wrong with the system there to create problems like this. Basically, like I said, it's certain segments of society being imported, and can't you send your inmates to Great Britain? That could help. If you wanted to read about New Zealand and Australia, send it to your ex. Thank you. Military doesn't need more gang members. If they join, they have to renounce publicly. I would agree with that. I wouldn't want the Somalians joining our military. Depends whether or not they're able to instill a little bit of, I don't know, patriotism and loyalty for the country that is providing them with opportunities. What I'm saying is, you offer it, you can either choose military or jail time. Yeah, that's sort of what I'm... The bill was passed in the Parliament's upper house at 2 a.m. The decision comes just days after the government walked back its commitment to raise it to 14. There'll also be a trial of electronic monitoring and more intensive bail supervision, along with intensive bail supervision and stronger powers to transfer young people over the age of 18 to an adult prison. The government vowed to lift the age in 2023 from 10 to 12 and again from 12 to 14 after mounting pressure from medical authorities, legal experts, and Indigenous organisations. What's that? Most little turds are clearly going to end up in prison when they're older. The little shits think they can get away with anything. They need to be held responsible for their actions. Yep. What's the drinking age? 18. Probably goes without saying, but you need to have a certain mind test before being given any type of pew-pew. That's how you ended up in the military. You want to fight, we'll let you. No 3 Caucasian people that were bashed by Somalians on Melbourne trains. Shit. Bill will be passing the lower house in the next sitting next week.
After almost 12 hours and more than 500 suggested amendments.
I uphold the point of order and I also uphold it to 2 a.m. in the morning.
Parliament's upper house finally.
Ow! I uphold the point of order and uphold that it is 2 a.m. in the morning. Oh, poor baby. Maybe you should have called an end to the vote and just, I don't know, suspended the session for the day.
Passed Victoria's Youth Justice Bill.
Ayes 23, noes 16.
All but raising the age of criminal responsibility from 10 years old to 12.
Sending young kids to prison does not make the community safer.
Raising the age isn't about getting young people out of jail because there are no 10 and 11-year-olds in jail.
Raising the age was front and centre, but the bill has also given the green light to a trial of GPS tracking for repeat offenders. It's also outlawed the use of spit hoods on children and limits how and when prisoners can be isolated and strip searched.
Okay, I will agree that no child should be facing any sort of strip search. I'm sorry, but that's... I mean, examination by a medical practitioner maybe, but no. As far as I'm concerned, no police officer should be doing that. Not all the kids, just the rubbish ones. Drop it to 6 for the memes. Meaning that they have to work together, they need to be able to both lead and follow, things that people in gangs tend to be bad at doing. The spit hoods on children, though, that one I have a little bit of a problem with. Because kids can be just as feral as adults in terms of biological attacks, shall we say. What's wrong with the spit hoods? No clue, honestly. What's that? Bribe is saying... Well-funded, well-trained, well-regulated civil police force, common sense prosecutors who enforce the current laws, and non-activist judges who hand down meaningful and fair custodial sentences. Yes. Also, Lexi Boo dropping, like, the Charmander stuff. That's pretty cool. I didn't realise you could do that over on Kick.
This is groundbreaking reform that will make Victoria safer.
The Deputy Premier backing his team of Justice Ministers who have once again made it illegal to commit a serious offence while on bail, 5 months after abolishing the charge.
Saying that there's no accountability sends exactly the wrong message in the middle of a youth crime crisis.
Bringing back what is essentially the charge of committing an indictable offence while on bail is a massive backflip for the government, but the opposition still isn't happy, saying Victoria's bail laws are much weaker today than they were back in March.
We're effectively giving kids as many get out of jail free cards as they like, up until the age of 18.
I think it'll take some time, but I think ultimately Victorians will be safer.
The bill will be ticked off by the lower house later this month.
As well.
Mark Santomartino, 9 News.
Okay, so, and there were a couple of things that were sent through as well. Might as well have a look at that.
The faces of a crisis response team, the Premier, 3 Justice Ministers, even the Chief Commissioner, all vowing to put a stop to the revolving door.
There is a cohort of young people out there who think that they can offend and re-offend.
No shit, you think, and you just gave anyone under the age of 12 a free pass.
And get away with it. I want to say very clearly this morning they're wrong.
The changes coming days after the death of Davide Polina, knocked from his motorbike by a stolen car, the second fatal incident involving youths on bail since the rules changed in March.
If the Alan Labor government didn't weaken the bail laws, we wouldn't be here today when we talk about 2 people that have died.
Under the new changes, it will be harder to get bail for things like aggravated home invasion, burglary, carjacking and dangerous dangerous driving.
These are the offences we want to protect the community from, and this will give us the power and the authority to do it.
Police will also be given more scope to get bail revoked, and there'll be a new offence of committing a serious crime while on bail. A similar
not a new
law
crime, that was
ditched
already a
5 months
crime.
ago,
They took it
now
away.
reinvented.
What we're bringing back is an offence for committing high-end serious harm.
These bail changes today we're very supportive of.
But the police union says members grow frustrated by the constant yo-yo effect of tightening and loosening legislation that impacts community safety. The state opposition not happy either.
This is a weak, chaotic change from a weak, chaotic government that isn't putting community safety first.
It's just a political fix.
The Premier's also dumped a big promise from her predecessor around criminal responsibility. Currently, children as young as 10 are considered capable of understanding they've committed a crime. Dan Andrews vowed to move that threshold first to 12 years of age, then on to 14.
12 is where it will stay. This decision has been made at a different time by a different government with a different Premier.
Welcomed by some,
We didn't support raising the age.
others say it's heartless.
We trusted the Victorian government and we certainly feel betrayed by the decision to abandon children.
The Victorian Premier today has shown us what weak and cowardly leadership looks like.
Well, Heidi joins me in the studio now. Heidi, what?
Hang on. Oh, of course! This was the leader of the Greens Party, the bleeding heart, the climate change, the... You get where I'm going.
Leadership looks like.
Well, Heidi joins me in the studio now. Heidi, what do these changes tell us about the Premier's leadership style?
The
It tells us she is going to be pretty pragmatic about things rather than try to brazen on through and bank on opinion changing like her predecessor did so often. Both these backdowns pick a big fight with progressive forces in and outside of her party, but should play well more widely in the community if the changes work as intended. That will be the big test here, and all of that is assuming the new laws actually pass the Parliament this week, which is no sure thing right now, Tom.
All right, very interesting, Heidi.
Pretty
Thank
much
you.
is now. Now that they've
The
spent
faces of a crisis response.
Damn it. All right. Now, Jill was kind enough to send this one through, so we'll talk about this quickly, and then I'll move on to some actual international stuff, because I think I've bleated on about what's going on in Australia for long enough, given that we're 57
and the
minutes in.
ketamine queen.
Oh, yeah, that's the stuff about Matthew Perry. We'll talk about that at some point, too. Woohoo! Check out the craziness in the emote wall. Cool. Politicians aren't going to fix it. Nope. Have you seen Escape from New York? The whole city is a prison. I did see Escape from New York. It's been ages, though. Okay, so tensions erupt between New Zealand and Australia over controversial criminal deportations. Another trans-Tasman brawl has erupted over Australia's controversial deportation policy after Home Affairs Minister Peter Dutton labelled criminals being sent to New South Wales as trash. When was this? No, this was in 2021. I was trying to work out what... Because as soon as it said Home Affairs Minister Peter Dutton, that had to have been while ScoMo was still in power. Are they still... what, they're still going on about that? Is that what you're saying, Jill? Feral kids running amok in Australia? Unfortunately, yes. Thankfully, I was able to get mine to sleep. Eventually. They should reflect on how they're portraying the transfer of people back to New Zealand. Dutton's comments reflect his own personality. Yeah, that's not a good look. New Zealand's opposition leader Judith Collins said Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern should consider retaliating by sending Australian criminals back home. Didn't they mean to send the Kim.com stuff? Actually, I think that was somebody else was sending the Kim.com stuff. That's okay. We can have a look at that too. And a link that's about the judge. Have a look at Kim.com. Point is that the Kiwis are a little bit pissed off that we're sending criminals back to them that committing crimes, obviously. Again, not my place to say what to do here. Don't understand what's going on there. Yeah, no. I mean, look, bad as it sounds, New Zealand is Australia's little brother. If the kids act, if the nieces and nephews are acting up, we're just going to send them home. That's all it is. Okay, Kim.com to be extradited from New Zealand to the United States. The Justice Minister has signed the extradition order for Mega Upload founder 12 years after the FBI ordered raids over the file-sharing site. God damn, his chin's worse than mine. Dude, grow a beard. Seriously. It will help. Kim.com, who's facing criminal charges related to the defunct file-sharing website Mega Upload. No shit, Mega Upload's like it's gone now. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's been like years since I remember even hearing about it. Is to be extradited to the US, the New Zealand Justice Minister says, which could end more than a decade of legal wrangling. German-born Dotcom, still can't believe he actually changed his name to that. Oh my god. Has New Zealand residency, has been fighting extradition to the US since 2012 after the FBI ordered a raid on his Auckland mansion. The High Court in New Zealand first approved his extradition in 2017, with an appeals court reaffirming the finding the year after. In 2020, the country's Supreme Court again affirmed the finding, but opened the door for a fresh round of judicial review. Now, the Justice Minister, Paul Goldsmith, has signed an extradition order for Dotcom, a spokesperson said on Thursday. I considered all the information carefully and have decided that Mr. Dotcom should be surrendered to the US to face trial. As is commonplace, I've allowed Mr. Dotcom a short period of time to consider and take advice on my decision. I will not therefore be commenting further at this stage. Dotcom posted on X on Tuesday, the obedient US colony of the South Pacific just decided to extradite me for what users uploaded to Mega Upload, in what appears to be a reference to the extradition order. He did not reply to further requests for comment. See the article about the priest charged because he didn't start a public speech with the welcome to the country? I did see that. Company Mega exists today as a storage platform, quite popular, but Kim doesn't have anything to do with running it, if I remember correctly. Okay. Wonder if this is because he came out for Trump? I doubt it. As well as copyright infringement, Dotcom faces more serious charges, including money laundering and racketeering. Uh-oh, they got Rico after him. Get that butt! He has long argued that he should not be held liable for copyright infringement carried out using his site, a file-sharing service that allowed users to upload content and share the link with others to download. It's I mean, look, to be fair, when you look at it that way, it's Google Drive, really. Or OneDrive, or whatever else you want to call it. New Zealand copyright law 92B makes it clear that an ISP can't be criminally liable for actions of their users, Dotcom said in 2017, after the High Court first ruled against him. Unless you're Kim.com. The High Court disagreed, arguing that under New Zealand law, the conduct could be categorised as a type of fraud, opening the way to Dotcom's extradition. US authorities say Dotcom and 3 other Mega Upload executives cost film studios and record companies more than $500 million by encouraging paying users to store and share copyrighted material, which generated more than $175 million in revenue for the site. The site was formerly based in Hong Kong until 2012, when the US seized the domain names and closed down the website. But it survived, relaunching in 2013 as Mega with a New Zealand domain name. Dotcom has had no involvement in the company since at least 2015, which now bills itself as an online privacy service and is run by New Zealander Shane Tapau, also known as Shane Phillips, who joined as its human resources director. Mega Upload's chief marketing officer Finn Potato. Oh no. Finn Potato. Have you seen his wife do his batting at Bradman levels above his weight? Also, don't stress about it, Lexi Boo. I'm more than happy with the emote wall. That's why it's there. Chief Technical Officer and co-founder Matthias Ortmann, both from Germany, along with the third executive, the Dutch national-born Bram van der Kolk. Oh, that's an unfortunate name to have in New Zealand. Were arrested in Auckland with Dotcom in 2012. Ortmann and van der Kolk entered plea deals and were sentenced in 2023 to jail terms in New Zealand, but allowed to avoid extradition. Potato died in 2022 in New Zealand. Oh no, they cost the maps $500 million. That's nearly the budget of a film. Wonder whatever shall they do? So you just looked up his wife? What's bad about that a name in New Zealand? The accent. There's no way in hell that comes out as Kolk. Okay, so this is the news article that you meant to send. Okay, fair enough. Anthony Albanese says Australia and New Zealand have agreed to disagree on criminal deportations. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says Australia and New Zealand have agreed to disagree over the fraught issue of criminal deportations of New Zealand citizens after sitting down with Christopher Luxon at a high-level talk in Canberra on Friday. Mr. Luxon had said that he would raise concerns over deportations pretty directly with Albanese after the federal government dumped a ministerial directive that was meant to reduce the number of New Zealand citizens with little or no connection to their country of birth being sent across the ditch. If they're born there and if they're in the country on a New Zealand passport, we've got every right to deport them. That's their problem. If they didn't fix the paperwork, that's on them. Albanese acknowledged New Zealand's anxieties after being pressed on the issue during a press conference after the meeting. What we have is an understanding that while we have a common purpose, we do not have uniform positions, but we respect each other's position. So he's taking it missionary and you're taking it doggy? Fair enough. Mr. Albanese said the government would still take a common sense approach and would ignore the weight of connections to Australia when weighing up deportations, but also stressed that community safety was now the number one issue for Australian officials. So why are you focusing on the Kiwis? Most of the brothers... Hey, bro, you got a ciggy? Hey, we gonna go down and hit the beach, do some surfing? I got no issue with most of the bros that are ordering fish and chips. They're not who we should be focusing on. They're just not. Australia's job is to look after our national interests. We say the safety of Australians is number one consideration in the ministerial directive. Albanese, you are full of shit. But it also continues to apply a common sense approach, and it is all we try to bring to this, and that is understood. Mr. Luxon only briefly mentioned the disagreement in his opening remarks, saying that he and Mr. Albanese agreed to stay in touch on the issue. The issue has long been a source of tension between the two countries, with New Zealand complaining that people deported from Australia have swollen the ranks of criminal gangs in their country. And? Then they go on to talk about defence ties, which I don't really give a shit about. Oh, interesting. Where was... What else I was going to talk about? Now it's for the life of me, I've completely forgotten about it. Oh, that's right. I was going to look up Kim.com's. Damn, you're not wrong. Dude was punching above his weight class severely in both cases. Because that's what happens when you make $500 million worth off of a website. He must have really nice looking money. I dare say so. I mean, neither of them are, neither of them hurt the eyes. Let's put it that way. Hard on the eyes is what I was trying to say. Hard on the eyes. All right. Let's talk about... Yeah, the bank size. Yeah. When are you buying that Raygun windshield wiper? I'm not, because I would not want that defacing my my vehicle. I don't want her anywhere near it. Oh, that was the other thing I was going to talk about, yeah. For the third night in a row, I've got to talk about this dumbass. Here we go. Pretty devastating. Raygun breaks her silence over the Olympic fallout. Rachel Raygun Gunn has broken her silence, taking to Instagram in a video addressing the swirling storm following her Olympic performance. The 36-year-old Australian has been widely panned across social media as well as by celebrities including Adele and Jimmy Fallon. Wait, did I read this one yesterday? No? Apparently this came out this morning. Never mind. She lost all three of her battles 18-0. Even her fashion was criticised. I feel like I've already read this.
I just want to start by thanking all the people who have supported me. I really appreciate the positivity, and I'm glad I was able to bring some joy into your lives. That's what I hoped.
Is that what you brought?
I didn't realise that would also open the door to so much hate, which has frankly been pretty devastating. While I went out there and I had fun, I did take it very seriously. I'd really like to ask the press to please stop harassing my family, my friends, the Australian breaking community, and the broader street dance community.
Okay, to be fair, if anyone is harassing anybody bar her, then that needs to stop, because that's not on. She's the one that made the conscious decisions and that did the stupid shit, frankly. Your request has been surely noted. Hang on, where are we? The Australian Olympic Committee released a statement on Thursday after a petition was launched calling for Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and the Australian Olympic Committee to hold Rachel Raygun and Anna Meares accountable for unethical conduct and Olympic selection. The petition, which has over 50,000 signatures at the time of writing, was slammed by the AOC CEO, Matt Carroll, who called it vexatious, misleading, and bullying, as well as demanding for it to be taken down. Oh, I bet you're demanding for it to be taken down, because it's a stain on the Australian Olympic Committee. Carroll said the petition contains numerous falsehoods and is designed to engender hatred against Dr. Gunn, who he says was selected through a transparent and independent qualification event and nomination process. The AOC is particularly offended to the affront to our chef de mission, Anna Meares, he said in a statement. The Australian team's chef de mission played no role in the qualification events, nor the nomination of athletes to the AOC selection committee, of which the chef and I are members. It is disgraceful that these falsehoods concocted by an anonymous person can be published in that way, and it amounts to bullying, harassment, and is defamatory. Dude, get a lawyer. A, you really need to have them explain to you the definitions of bullying, harassment, and defamation. Because I'll be perfectly honest. Truth and honest opinion are both complete defenses to defamation. Same energy as a US senator being outraged about people wondering how their family memberships keep being chosen for commission seats. Petition stirred up a lot of public hatred without any factual basis. It's appalling. No athlete who has represented their country at the Olympics Games should be treated this way, and we're supporting Dr. Gunn and Anna Meares at this time. I love how he just added that in to make sure that, you know, just to cover all bases. If anything else comes out, if we have any concerns, we will no longer support them. Defamation would include posting doctored photos in a forum. Yeah, can't be defamatory if it's true. Exactly. It's important that the community understands the facts and that people do not form opinions based on malicious untruths and misinformation. Raygun won her place at the Olympics when she won the Oceania qualifying event in Sydney in October 23. AOC confirmed that the event was conducted under the Olympics qualification system determined by the international governing body. They stated the judging panel for the event was selected by the WDSF and consisted of 9 independent international judges who were brought to Australia specifically to provide fair, expert, and transparent adjudication. They also stated that she holds no position with Oz Breaking or Dance Sport Australia in any capacity. She's simply an athlete who competed in the qualifying event which she won. There were no appeals from any athlete. It also clarified that Gunn had no responsibility for funding decisions in her sport. This is why they had to go through and cover all of this, because the allegations were that she set up her own independent governing body. She refused to provide taxpayer funds in order to allow other individuals from across the country to attend the qualifiers, scholarships and that sort of stuff, and that her husband, who is also a coach, was part of the selection committee. Notice how they didn't specify that her husband is not on that selection committee. But anyway. It added no federal taxpayer funds were sought nor provided for the Olympic team's Paris campaign. $25 million cost for the team was met entirely by the Australian Olympics Committee. That's worse. You're telling me it cost $25 million. They better not just be talking about the breakdancing teams. $25 million to send them to Paris? That better be every goddamn athlete. Oz Breaking have also released a series of statements explaining the selection process for the Australian team, responding to misinformation about her win at the Oceanic Championships, and accusations that she'd set up her own governing body for breaking, and then using her position to manipulate the selection process to her own advantage. While Ozbreaking has had many interactions and points of contact with Raygun, at no point was she the founder, an executive, committee member, or in any position of leadership. She was not involved in any decision-making over events, funding, strategy, judge selection, or athlete selection. In regards to Raygun's comments on scoring and breaking, 9 judges assess each competitor for their technique, vocabulary, originality, execution, and musicality, which they're added together to get an overall score. That is fucking damning. Read those words again. 9 judges assess each competitor on their technique, vocabulary, originality, execution, and musicality. And she scored a fucking 0 across 3 separate matches in every one of those instances. Vocabulary, what's this spelling bee? Against the USA's logistics, in the first round, Raygun was awarded the originality points from 2 judges, but was shut out in every other criteria. In the second round, she claimed the Japanese judges' vocabulary score by 0.8% and the South Korean judges' originality score by 0.2%, while the rest went to the American. Against France's Sissy, Raygun was beaten in every category in both rounds except for the German judges' originality score in the second round. I didn't even see that she scored that in the second round. Against Lithuania's Nikki in round 1, she won the originality category on the German and Spanish scorecards, while the Brazilian judge had originality as a tie. Lithuania won every other category, including every category from every judge in round 2. Yeah, zeros upon zeros. I just can't with this shit. Like, I thought about doing, like, a short or something that was, like, a recreation of her dance, and then I was like, even I can't be that cringe. Japanese judges were like, what the fuck is this shit? Yep. Can understand originality. Definitely no one has ever seen anything like that. That was a tribute post to Thriller. I'm not even sure that that's what that was. Honestly, just the jumping around like a freaking kangaroo was bad enough, and then the swimming like a snake. I'm a snake, a sneaky snake. Like, but anyway. Too soon before the date, and they needed to be registered with 3 dancing organizations, needed a valid passport to compete in the Olympics. I'm assuming I missed something else. There was another article from a previous competitor saying she did win the qualifier correctly, but they didn't even have 16 female competitors at the qualifier because they announced the event too late. Too soon before the date, and they needed to be registered with 3 dancing organizations and needed a valid passport to compete in the Olympics qualifiers. So what you're saying is that there could have been people that were significantly better equipped and more qualified to be in that, but because of the way that it was... Kind of feels like it, yeah. Also, thank you very much. That puts us $35 away from the doggo cam. She is currently laying quite peacefully and sleeping in front of the fan. So, but thank you very much for the super chat. Would have been even more hilarious if you chose Bombfunk's MC Freestyler as a soundtrack. Does the word originality really belong in that sport? Sorry, belong in a sport? No, not in my opinion. Where are we? Alright. We started off the show a little bit kinky. Unfortunately, we have to head back towards certain topics. Did you hear the Hawk Tour girl sign up for a WWE fight? I only just saw that she threw out a ball at the Mets game. Like, she threw out the first pitch of the Mets game. Borderlands film has been accused of being tragically straight and ignoring LGBTQ+ characters' sexuality. This might be a revolutionary thing, but it is possible to have a LGBT character in a movie that doesn't shove their sexuality in your face. And it can still be a good movie, although I understand that Borderlands sucks balls. Borderlands movie has been accused of straight-washing after ignoring LGBTQ plus character sexuality and failing to include any representation. Borderlands, based on the video game series of the same name, has been described as tragically straight by Out.com for sidestepping LGBTQ plus characters and narratives in a big-budget adaptation. Many of the hit video game franchise characters are canonically queer, and many are disappointed that this doesn't translate to the big screen. It was terrible. No one's watching it. Doesn't shock me. Many of the hit video game characters are canonically... to add to its problems, the film has also been critically panned, with 9% score on critics and 52% score from the audience on Rotten Tomatoes. Lilith teams up with a team of misfits, Roman... Oh god, Kevin Hart's in it. Former soldier on the lookout for redemption, Demolition Tiny Tina, Tina's hulking protector Krieg, scientist Dr. Patricia Tannis, and Know-It-All Robot Claptrap. Oh my god, they got Jack Black to play Claptrap. Are you serious? Oh my god. There's some goofy marketing ploy. Could well be. Uncle said it was terrible if you're a fan of the game. Oh no. The fact that it's got Jamie Lee Fox in it too. The scathing review of in a scathing review of the film, LGBTQ publisher Out commented that Borderlands is tragically straight and there's no sexuality whatsoever in the movie. Why is that a problem? Why is it a problem that there's not any sexuality in this film aside from a few jokes and maybe an implied look or two? Why does every goddamn movie have to have some form of sexuality? Why does it even if it's straight or gay or queer or whatever else you want to call it? Maybe, just maybe, a video game doesn't have to have any sexuality in it whatso-fucking-ever. Because degeneracy, I'm guessing? Because they made it for kids? Yeah, no shit, they made it for kids. They add, even St. Carol herself, Kate Blanchett, doesn't radiate a lick of sensuality off her cheekbones. We'd still like to see them sliced like... What? We'd still like to see them slices like marble. Oh, classy. Tiny Tina in Borderlands 2. She's canonically queer. The film clearly doesn't, however. The detailed and long-running Borderlands game franchise features a number of characters in the main storyline as well as in the extended lore of the series. Tiny Tina, who is in the film, is canonically a lesbian, confirmed by the lead writer of Borderlands 2. In the game, scientist and archaeologist Tannis, depicted by Lee Curtis in the film, makes it very clear that she's open to flirting with any gender, and she also ingests one of Lilith's hairs in an attempt to flirt. But again, who are these people to tell someone else what they should or shouldn't have? That's a good point. They need to keep their unnecessary creative writing job. Tannis also said to have a meeting with Mad Moxie where she took her clothes off. Moxie's canonically bisexual and engages in numerous steamy moments. Maybe, just maybe, they didn't want to include sexuality in the movie at all. Why is that a problem? But anyway. AI-powered undressing websites are getting sued. San Francisco is officially taking aim to take down 16 of the most visited sites used to create fake nudes of real women and children. I have no issues with this whatsoever in terms of kids. If the ladies agree to it, you know, because I went to one of the sites to see whether or not I could use a photo of myself. Turns out they legitimately geared towards women. Like, you can change bust size and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to really work. I mean, if there'd been a slider for cock size or for, you know, giving yourself pecs and abs and that sort of thing, I would have been happier. But no, it was, would you like the chest to have C cups or G cups or, you know, shit like that? And it's like, well, I can understand why they want it taken down. I mean, revenge porn, deepfakes, all that sort of shit. This is going to be problematic. Pandora's box issue, get it, but it's too late. I think so too. San Francisco City's attorney office is suing 16 of the most frequently visited AI undressing websites, often used to create nude deepfakes of women and girls without their consent. The landmark lawsuit, announced at a press conference by City Attorney David Hsu, says that the targeted websites were collectively visited over 200 million times in the first 6 months of 2024 alone. Am I ordering a sex doll? No. You'd love to give yourself A-cups in pictures? Can we have a list of the sites that he's suing? The Russian ones work on dudes. No shit, the Russian ones works on dudes? Okay. Balls or no balls? I maintain that there has to be balls. Because otherwise, the cum shot makes no sense. Always said that. I think that might have been the only time that I've ever struck Nick speechless, was when he asked me that question and I had a legitimate, logical reason as to why one or the other. The offending websites allow users to upload images of real, fully clothed people which are digitally undressed by AI tools that simulate nudity. One of the websites, which wasn't identified within the complaint, reportedly advertises imagine wasting time taking her out on dates when you can just use the redacted website to get her nudes. Wait, what? You're a saint for giving the stolen balls back prior to death. Celebrity fakes have been a thing since the 90s, even earlier. Why is it now not okay? I think, Darren, because it's become more prolific that people are doing it to everyday citizens. I mean, you sort of, I'm not saying that it's right. I'm saying you sort of expect it with certain levels of notoriety and celebrity. Because certain men and women are both going to have proclivities and attraction to people that are plastered across the newspaper or magazines or across their web pages or whatever else. And there are going to be people that will want to see certain individuals naked. I personally feel like that's human nature. Do I agree with it? Do I condone it? No. This issue aside, I don't understand how they're paying for computing power for this. That's actually a good point. Website operators are accused of violating state and federal laws banning revenge pornography, deepfake porn, and CP, alongside California's unfair competition law because they harm the cause to consumers. The harm they cause to consumers greatly outweighs any benefit associated with those practices. Show me how the hell that the consumer of this is being harmed. Show me how the horny idiot sitting at his computer uploading an image is being harmed by seeing someone's fake tits. Explain that one to me, please, by all means. According to the complaint filing, the lawsuit is seeking civil penalties in addition to taking the websites offline and permanently preventing their purveyors from creating future deepfake porn. The complaint comes amid heightened attention to the creation and spread of non-consensual nudes, largely driven by the advancements in generative AI, leading to the increasing reports of sextortion. Given Kamala's history, how long do we really think it'll take? If we're perfectly honest. Deep nude sites can use stolen AWS assets pretty often. Huh, okay. AI does to technology what art with the camera did to painters. That's a fair opinion. Definitely looking forward to people who use tech to use my body as a fit model without my consent being gone. Notably, celebrities like Taylor Swift have been victimized by sexually explicit deepfakes, and school children, that's reprehensible, across the country have been expelled or arrested for circulating AI-generated nude photos of their classmates, as well they should. This investigation has taken us to the darkest corners of the internet, and I'm absolutely horrified for the women and girls who have had to endure this exploitation, said Chu on X. It's been a big, multifaceted problem that we as a society need to solve as soon as possible. And I don't disagree with that. All right, where's the complaint? It's 25 pages. I'm not going to read the entire thing. Rapid advancements in the field of AI in recent years have created immense opportunities for innovation with major implications for scientific research, healthcare, education, computing, and beyond. Notice how they started off with something very broad, very analytical, has some substance to it, has some credibility to it. Among the most significant developments is the emergence of generative AI models that have the capacity to create, be it from a form of text, speech, image, or music, or video. Despite the potential for generative AI models to improve people's lives, they also prevent new and profound safety and privacy concerns. In particular, some generative AI models have been released to the public as open source with the goal of fostering innovation and collaboration, but have been adapted and misused for illegal or harmful purposes. Yes, those morons that are using Stable Diffusion to generate porn, naughty. Bad. I get that you're not... you're probably sitting there with only one hand above the desk, but naughty. Bad. AI makes me look slimmer with smaller tits. I'm good. Wouldn't these be degenerate AI models? Trying to sue Russians and Estonians? Huh. Despite the potential... One disturbing form of misuse is the adaptation of open source AI image generation models to create fake pornographic and sexual abuse content depicting real identifiable women and girls, so-called deepfake pornography or deep nudes. These models have led to the proliferation of websites and apps that offer to undress or nudify girls and women. By exploiting open source AI generation models, these websites and apps manipulate images of real women and girls without the consent to create photorealistic images showing these women and girls with AI generated nude bodies and intimate body parts. Well, once we no longer have gender and we don't care about body parts, porn will just become a thing of the past, won't it? If all of a sudden we're all like Barbie and Ken dolls, there won't be anything to worry about. Defendants operate some of the world's most popular websites that offer to nudify images of women and girls. The primary purpose of the defendant's website is to create fake nude images of women and girls without the consent. The defendants tout their ability to let users see anyone naked. As one defendant puts it, imagine wasting time taking her out on dates when you can just use the website to get her nudes. Collectively, these sites have been visited over 200 million times in just the first 6 months of 2024. Ban open source. We're going to see two robots going at it. Jill, I wish you were joking, but that's what they're using for, like, sex ed class at the moment. Like, I don't know if you've seen the GIF, and if someone wants to chuck it to me in X, but, because I don't have it on hand. The sex ed video that they've got, it's literally some of the weirdest shit I've ever seen. It's a pair of robots, and at one point, the male robot is pumping into her as he's spinning around on top of her. And I'm like, why would you confuse the kids even worse? No bloke is ever going to keep it up long enough to be able to do that. At a level, BTW to use real sense and other tech to fully play pretend as someone else. Bill Hicks was wrong about advertising. Non-consensual images, or NCII. Holy shit, they've literally used 2/3 of the page for citations. NCII generated from defendant websites and other similar websites are used to bully, threaten, and humiliate women and girls. In California and across the country, there's been a stark increase in the number of women and girls harassed and victimized by AI-generated NCII, and this distressing trend shows no sign of abating. For example, in February 24, AI-generated nude images of 16 8th grade students were circulated among students at a California middle school. That, to me, is a parenting issue. They need AI porn so they can include hermaphrodites and centaurs. What kind of porn you been looking at? Jesus Christ. That's a new form of helicopter. Oh. The Federal Bureau of Investigation has also warned of an uptick in instances of extortion schemes where bad actors use public social media pictures of their victims to create AI-generated nude or sexually explicit images and threaten to release the images if the victims do not pay. How much you want to bet if 6-12 months ago this had been more prolific, that a certain Congress staffer would have been saying, "Oh no, I've been nudified and I've been it's AI generated." Yeah, bullshit. More worried about this being used to extort people, manipulate the public, and things along those lines. Yeah. Victims have little to no recourse as they face significant obstacles to remove these images once they've been disseminated. They're left with profound psychological, emotional, and economic and reputational harms, and without control and autonomy over their bodies and images. As one victim explained, "I felt like I didn't have a choice in what happened to me or what happened to my body." Another emphasized that she and her family lived in hopelessness and perpetual fear. At any time, such images can reappear and be viewed by countless others. Given the widespread availability and popularity of the defendant's website, San Franciscoans, are you freaking kidding me? San Franciscans and Californians face the threat that they and their loved ones will be victimized in this manner. The defendant's conduct violates state and federal laws prohibiting creation, possession, disclosure, and distribution of AI-generated NCII and similar forms of SA material and harassment. The people bring this case to hold the defendants accountable for creating and distributing generated NCII of women and girls, and for the aiding and abetting in perpetuating this conduct. Now, this raises an interesting question. Because ordinarily, the argument would be that the AI itself is merely a tool, and that the copyright, for example, in any generated content, belongs to whoever used the tool. Now, because this tool has been specifically set up to alter something in a specific way, you sent me an AI centaur. At least now I know that I'm not opening Stingy's messages anytime soon. We're more concerned about immigrants masturbating in public lately. There's countless recordings of people doing it in public transport and shops. Yes. I love they redacted the websites. For obvious reasons. All the defendants, jurisdiction, factual allegations. Oh, I'll be honest, I'm too retired to read through all the factual allegations. Because there's so many different companies that they reckon are doing it. Oh, excuse me. Whole bunch of does. So what are they saying? Violation of business and professional codes against all defendants. California Business Professional Code Section 17200 prohibits any unlawful, unfair, or fraudulent business act or practice. Defendants have engaged in and continue to engage in unlawful business practices and violation of the section. Such acts include, but are not limited to, violating the code, prohibiting the creation and intentional disclosure of non-consensual sexual explicit images, or aiding and abetting violations of the code set forth herein. Okay, that's probably more likely for it. It's clean, no nudity. And you'll have to open it to pull up the Logan Paul sound clip. Oh, God. You know what the weirdest thing about that is, Stingy? Immediately my first thought is, why is the centaur biracial? She's a stacked Japanese chick right up until the hips, and then the horse is black. Like, what? Use robots to master onto people too. Only the dickless would do something like that. Yeah. What drives a person to back off in a shop? How bad does life have to get? Dunno, honestly. I don't have a Logan Paul sound clip from the looks of it. Second grandbaby went to the Rainbow Bridge just a short of 11 weeks ago. Some days just suck. Oh, Jesus. Sorry to hear that, Jill. Are you right there? Could you be any louder? It's not distracting in the slightest. I'd say it's under the story. Oh, Dominic Mysterio trolls Logan Paul about on his podcast. Oh, okay.
For some reason,
all right, I'll pull it up in a bit. Okay, so they're claiming that they violated the code by aiding and abetting in the production of the material. Violation of business professional code. Same thing, just a different charge against different defendants. Prayer for relief. Enjoin all defendants as successors, agents, representatives, employees, and any other persons who act in concert or in participation with the defendants by preliminary and permanently restraining them for performing or proposing to perform any acts in violation of the code. I love that that's how they're getting this. They're doing it on the basis that they're breaching the commercial code because that's how they included it. That's nuts to me, but hey, more power to them. Or an order that any domain name registrars, domain name registries, web hosts, payment processors of other companies providing user authentication or services shall take all necessary actions to restrain the defendants from performing or proposing to perform any unlawful or unfair business practices in violation of the code, including but not limited to ceasing to facilitate access, to any websites owned or operated by the defendants that are capable of creating AI-generated NCII of identifiable individuals. Order each defendant to pay a civil penalty of $2,500 for each violation. Damn. What's that? That's why you're afraid of to publish anything. I'm studying on this. I don't blame you. Honestly, don't. Each violation. See, that could go one or two ways. That could be that they could just get hit with $2,500, or that could be that they get hit with $2,500 for each and every pornographic pic that an individual creates using their service. That could be $100 million, depending on how randy the people in California are. In order defending that the defendants pay the cost of the suit and provide such further and additional relief as the court deems just and proper and equitable. Sol Elcom, Brava, Tech. Okay. And toes 1 through 50. They're suing 50 random people. Very hard to change US law, but it's not really hard to get a new law made. Don't know what the misreaction to this is going to be. Don't know what to say. Don't know what to tell you, to be perfectly honest. Now, Stingy's been chomping at the bit for me to have a look at this stuff about Logan Paul. I know nothing about Logan Paul. I know next to nothing about Dominic Mysterio, but whatever the hell this is. He trolled Logan Paul on his own podcast over controversial Japan incident. Mysterio went on Logan Paul's podcast this week to troll the host of the show. You're very welcome, Jeff, and thank you so much for that. That puts us $25 away from Dotcom, but I would actually ask, given that after this I'm probably going to end the show, probably done on Super Chats and memberships for the night, people. Save it for tomorrow. Hugely appreciate everything. When we get within like the last 10-15 minutes of the show, I feel like it would be a rip-off for me to bring the Dotcom on. So, all I know is I wanted him to have a fight against Mike Tyson. Yeah. I would have liked to have seen it, but at the same time, Tyson's like, well, he's old. I'd feel bad about it. So, it's all kayfabe, nothing real. Okay. For those who may not recall, Paul caught a ton of heat in 2017 after he posted a video of himself visiting the forest, which is known for the high rate of self-eating. Paul found a body hanging from a tree in Minecraft and laughed in disbelief upon seeing it. Later posted the video to YouTube, which resulted in the account being demonetized. In the latest edition of Paul's impulsive podcast, Dirty Dom was talking about WWE's recent tour of Japan and made a reference to his issues in the country. Been very blessed to go around the world with this job. Just came back from Japan last week. It's really nice. We had a blast. You guys haven't been to Japan. You've never been. You laugh while Paul mentioned that he had other commitments and couldn't go on tour. He replied with, I'm just making sure. I didn't know if you were shadow banned. Don't know if you were put on a list or something. Paul then later clarified that he was able to enter the country after the incident but hasn't been invited back.
Japan?
Well,
you've never been? There's a great.
I have prior obligations.
No, you gotta go, dude.
This last time I had prior obligations.
No, dude,
He's been really busy. He has been busy. He just hasn't had time to go there.
Can you go?
Bro, Dom, what do you think this? Yes, I can go to Japan.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
No, I can go to Japan.
I didn't know if you were like, shadow banned or something.
I know so little about the Paul brothers that I don't know which one's Logan and which one's Jake. The funny thing is, I don't care. Okay? Sometimes I would rather drag my balls across broken glass than deal with some of the people on YouTube. And I know that is a massively horrifying mental image for a good number of you. And I know that some of you are touching yourself now. Sorry. But I could not give a shit about these pair. I'm doing this for you, Stingy, so if you honestly think that I don't pay any attention for you, we're purely here for that.
Oh, yeah, excommunicado.
Come on, excommunicado. Oh, no, I'm not excommunicado. Dude,
I didn't know if you were put on a list or something.
Dude, he is. Somebody told me one time he has to talk directly to the emperor. I'm not even kidding.
No, WWE can pull some strings for you.
100%. I've never said this before,
The
but my
stupid
rule
one is
was
Paul.
if I went back, I
Logan's
would like
getting
to be
sued out of his ass for
back.
crypto scams and shit.
And
oh, is he?
I haven't gotten the invite yet. Who are you trying to get invited by? Probably my best bet is the WWE, no?
I mean, I'd
be a real heel there.
I mean, we get invited.
Does he need to get invited back into the country now because of all this?
For some reason, we have.
Japan?
Well,
I mean, I don't think about that being on stream. There's probably someone doing that.
You've
Quite
never
possibly.
been?
I don't know. I honestly have no idea what some people do and what they don't do. It's just, you know. And because of his Prime energy drink. Well, see, I tried to like Prime, but it is way too sugary for me here. Have no idea who you're talking about. Would rather pee on electric fence. That's fair. All right. Redirect. Sending everyone off into the ether. That's fine. Only Logan that matters is Dacia Logan. Oh, is she the one that's... Anyway. Keep in mind, boxing's kind of failing. Alright, guys. I'm going to go and get some sleep because my eyes are hanging out of my head. So tomorrow, I'm pretty sure Vice has got his F Friday or, you know, tomorrow my time. Became an innie when I had an Audi. He's getting sued by the IOC. Oh, no shit. But, yeah, so I'll probably drop in there. Tomorrow, my time, so Friday evening for the usually is my day off because I spend time with the Munchkin and that sort of thing. I may be able to get a little bit out of that because I spent all day with her today while it was a pupil-free day. But we'll see what happens. If I can do some streaming tomorrow, I will. Otherwise, I'll see you back here this time tomorrow, my time. But as always, people, remember, you're not a piece of shit. You have value and you do contribute to society. And even if I am a cringe-ass lawyer from Australia who knows nothing about the internet or anything going on in the US or anything like that, I thank you all very much for being here, and I doff my hat to you for listening to me and putting up with me for, what is it, almost 2 hours now. But as always, people, stay healthy, wealthy, and wise, and I'll catch you all on the flip side.
This shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.